Good evening. Hi, everybody. Glad you're here. I am Robin Wisdom, President of the League of Women Voters of Umpqua Valley. And, good idea. Here I wanted to tell everybody else that, but I should follow my own directions. Yes. Yeah, we still have some open chairs here, if anybody wants to sit down. Okay, we're sponsoring tonight's presentations. Our subject is our homeless problem in Roseburg and Douglas County. This is another installment to help us find a solution for those who are homeless and for those who have homes. I hope you have all checked in as you entered. There's a place to sign up if you want to receive emails about when the recording is up and online. Please sign in. Tonight's presentation is being recorded by Lovecraft Collective, and we will let you know via email when the recording is online. You can go to our website. We'll also, if you've signed in, you'll get an email about it. And we'll post it, like I said, on our website. And thank you for being here. The League of Women Voters is a grassroots, nonpartisan political organization which encourages informed and active participation in government in order to build better communities statewide. Basically, our mission is to inform voters and to inspire people to vote. We also want to make you aware of a special event, our second annual Tea Social. The League is holding on March 10th at the Umpqua Arts Center. You are invited, as well as League members. If you're interested, please sign up on a list we have. Jenny, do you have that list where people, yes. And we'll have more information on our website as well, which is LWVUV.org. Homelessness is such a huge problem all over the country, and I believe we can find solutions if we set our minds to it. We simply cannot go on like this, and I think you all agree. Under the League's position on behavioral health, we believe and lobby for access to safe and stable housing for people with behavioral health challenges, including those who are chronically homeless. Tonight's discussion will begin with a short presentation from Roseburg Police Officer Josh Chavez. After this presentation, we will pause to take some questions. And about 6:35, we will hear from the next person, and that's Bernie Woodard. At about 7 p.m., we'll pause again and take more questions from the audience. So, because this event is only 1.5 hours long, we will have only a short time to ask your question. We want to keep it as succinct as possible so that others will have time also to ask their questions. So only one question per audience member, and please don't ask more than one question when you get a chance, and so that everybody has a shot at it. Raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. When it's appropriate timing, we'll have Q&A time. And a League member will come around to you either with a card for you to write your question down, or you can have access to the mic. We'll have someone deliver the mic to you, but we want to get you all recorded and heard. So refreshments are being served over yonder. And I'd like to introduce Elaine Brady, Vice President of our League, who will introduce the speakers. Elaine?
Thanks, Robin. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. And our first speaker tonight will be Officer Josh Chavez. And I've volunteered with Josh in helping clean up homeless camps, not recently, but in the past. And it's a daunting task, to say the least. And then we're also going to have Bernie Woodard, who is, has Elk Island Trading Group. He's the operations manager, and he is also president of Alternative Living Solutions. So with that, I'd like to invite Officer Chavez to speak. Thank you.
Are you okay with this mic right here? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Great.
I didn't bring enough of these for everyone. There's 25 here.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll pass them out.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Chavez. I'm with the City of Roseburg Police Department. I am the homeless liaison. I have been employed with the City of Roseburg Police Department for about 13 years. I've been doing this position for about 4 of them. Previous to that, I was a motor officer, traffic officer here in Roseburg.
Closer to the mic.
Closer to it. Can everyone hear? Check, check.
Yeah, you can take it off if you want.
Come up. Previous to that, I was a motor officer for about 5 years. So I know the community well. I'm a Douglas County resident, been born and raised here, so I know a lot of people here. I kind of inherited this position. It didn't exist really before COVID. So COVID and more drug use kind of brought on the homelessness issue and made it more present in our community, where the City of Roseburg Police Department decided to address it by creating my position. So my job, 40 hours a week, is to deal with the homeless and the homeless issues that affect the City of Roseburg. The item that we are passing out right now is the time, place, and manner ordinance, so that all of you know. You'll have to share it because I only brought, I think, 25 copies. But if you'll notice on the backside of that time, place, and manner ordinance, there is a QR code. For all of you that have smartphones, you can scan that QR code. It will direct you to the City of Roseburg's website, where the time, place, and manner maps are stored and available to any member of the public. So for those of you who aren't familiar with our time, place, and manner, this is what dictates the rules and regulations for camping within the city limits of Roseburg. Again, these are only for the city limits of Roseburg. They're not effective outside of the city limits of Roseburg. So as far as Douglas County goes, just inside the city. So the City of Roseburg created this time, place, and manner ordinance, and it's divided into 3 prongs: time, place, and manner. And that dictates how, when, and where the homelessness can camp within the city limits of Roseburg. So to backtrack a little bit, again, I deal with the homeless 40 hours a week. It's too much for me to handle by myself, obviously. So we have 3 community service officers that the City of Roseburg has also recently hired that did not exist prior to COVID, really. So those CSOs assist me with my duties in cleaning these camps, making arrests, and picking up property that gets abandoned. So time, place, and manner, back to that. So time, if you look at this form, it talks about when camping is allowed in the city limits of Roseburg. Depending on the time of the year will dictate what the hours are. But any time of the year, 8 a.m. is when they're supposed to have their camps packed up and out, which, as most of you know, doesn't happen. So time is one portion of that. The other is place. Place is what that QR code directs you to in those maps. There's also quite a bit of regulations on place that maybe the maps don't show. So it explains that on the form that I gave you. So, for example, place, not within 10 feet of the multi-use path that we have that goes through the parks. Place between the path and the river in a lot of our parks to keep the campers away from, as far away from the water as we can, so that trash doesn't end up in the river. Place within 200 feet of a sports complex. Sports complex would be like Legion Field, for example, the soccer fields at Fir Grove. The Frisbee golf course, for example, doesn't fall under a sports complex. So the 200-foot rule does not apply to the Frisbee golf course, and that's kind of a common misunderstanding that some people have. So, for example, if you do scan that code on the back and look at the maps, camping is allowed during the nighttime hours as long as people are following these rules around that Frisbee golf area where that path passes through. Thank you. So place is a big part of what we enforce. So, for example, the duck pond area, there is no camping allowed at the duck pond ever. It's a nature-sensitive area. The duck pond is also highly visible. More people see that duck pond area than just about any other park in town. It's got one of the busiest intersections right by it. So what dictates what camps we address is often complaints that we receive from the public. So for example, if someone calls in and complains about a particular camp that's maybe set up at the corner of Stewart Parkway and Garden Valley, a highly visible area, that's typically one we're going to address first before one that's maybe hidden in the brush somewhere else. So as far as addressing the place, it's often dictated off of what you all tell us. Obviously, there's camps everywhere, and we are by far outnumbered. I would estimate at any given time there are approximately 300 people camping within the city limits of Roseburg in tents within the park system. It's hard to get an exact number, but that's a pretty good estimate. I've been doing this, like I say, for about 4 years, and I believe that's fairly accurate. That doesn't count people living in RVs, couch surfing. That's just campers within our park system. So then the other prong to it is manor. Manor dictates how they can camp. So they cannot occupy a spot larger than 10 by 10. They cannot have anything outside of their tent other than a single mobility device, like a wheelchair, a bicycle with a trailer connected. The manor is probably, other than place, the most often unfollowed rule of it. So often people will tie their camps off to trees, tarps to trees. They will dig into the ground and make pads on an uneven parcel of land. They'll dig into the riverbank, for example. They're not allowed to be anywhere near the riverbank, but they like to be near water. So we address these by posting them. So number one, we can cite a person for prohibited camping. After 2 convictions for prohibited camping, that person can then be arrested for each charge of prohibited camping after that. That means we can arrest them. It doesn't mean necessarily that the jail will hold them. And I believe it's for up to 7 days that the court system can hold that person for violating the time, place, and manner after those 2 convictions. We can charge them for littering near waters, criminal mischief if they are digging into the banks or the riverside or anywhere else for that matter. So what we do is to remedy this or to try to make it as good as we can is we will post that camp. So, and this is following state law. We have to post a camp with a 72-hour notice. We don't get to just show up and pack someone's camp up if they're violating the time, place, and manner. So unless they're violating state law, such as littering, that changes things. But if we go through the standard posting process, we have to post it with a 72-hour notice. Once 72 hours is expired, we then can show up and clean up that campsite. So typically we'll post, and we even give them more than 72-hour notice because we'll post the week before for cleanup the following week. So we give them more than what the state law typically even requires. So on cleanup day, we hire the Douglas County work crew, which is a staff of anywhere between 2 and 6 people on average, to assist us with these camp cleanups. Often they're done without the help of heavy equipment or machinery. It's often done by hand and with pickup trucks because a lot of these locations are spread out all over town and they're very time consuming. So we typically clean a major cleanup like that with work crew only 1 day per week. And that's another misconception is that we have access to the work crew every day. We do not. So when we clean those camps, we then have to sort all of that property. So that's another misconception is that we just get to show up and throw everything away. We have to sort all of the property that is left behind by the camper. And if the camper is still there, we have to remove them and then sort through the property. So we have to sort through property, and often it comes with exposures, such as syringes. We come across hundreds, if not thousands, of syringes, often uncapped, in these campsites, which is a huge biohazard for us and anyone else that's in our park system. That number has gone down recently, though. So that's our biggest hazard is exposure to syringes. So we have to sort through these items carefully and slow. And so that's what takes more time than anything else is simply sorting through this property and figuring out what we're going to keep for this person that has value or utility and what is going to end up in the landfill. And so then once we get that property, we have to then transport it to the police department where it's stored for 30 days for that person. After 30 days, if that person does not pick up their property, then it's disposed of. We load it back up and take it out to the Douglas County landfill where it ends up there. So there's certain steps and procedures we have to go through legally to clean these camps. And again, there's a big misconception that we just get to show up and throw everything away, and this by no means is that the case. So we are outnumbered with the number of camps and homeless people in my one position. There's other officers that also write citations and arrest people for camping. But unfortunately, it's me that takes on the burden of it. So if we can get fully staffed, we can enforce our time, place, and manner better than what we're doing now. But we are down police officers, so it's a little tougher for us. Again, if any of you have anyone that wants to be a police officer, friends, family, send them our way. We could definitely use them. But I recommend that everyone read and understand this time, place, and manner, and look at those maps, because there may be certain spots where you all think that maybe camping isn't allowed, again, just during the dark hours, or maybe it is. And so we hand this out. This is the same form that I hand out to the people that are camping out there. And a new ordinance I didn't bring in to hand out to you today is our prohibited weapons and tools. There's been so much digging that's been going on in the parks that we passed a new ordinance where people are not allowed to possess shovels, saws, whips, pellet guns, BB guns, nunchucks, weapons that don't belong in our parks. We have seized hundreds of them, if not 1,000, over the last year. So that ordinance has been very, very successful, but for every shovel that we take, they seem to find more of them. So that's about all I have. I'm assuming you all have questions.
Yes, let's do Q&A now. Someone will pick up the written questions for me?
Okay, and are you going to ask them?
Yes, sure. Anyone want to come to the mic? Or just, yeah, Robin, you could, someone say my name? Second mic here. Oh, thank you very much. Great, it's working? Perfect. Well, thank you, Mr. Officer Chavez.
Absolutely.
So appreciate your work. Okay, and here is the first question, and I did ask that only one question per card, but of course we didn't listen to that. Okay, thanks. If I can read them, I'll ask them. What the designated hours for camping, and why are those hours being breached?
Why are they being breached? So two questions there. One, what are the hours?
Right.
So the hours are on that form that
Okay,
I
great.
handed out. So between November 1st and February 28th, 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. They stay really close to the dark hours, basically. During the months of March through October, 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. April 1st to September 30th, so basically summertime, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And you said, why are they being breached?
Right.
Why, I couldn't answer. You'd have to ask each individual. If your question is more, why are we not enforcing it? We are. So if you all have access to our police logs, you can see how many citations we write for violations of the prohibited camping. We just arrested someone the other day who was camping on the trestle, the old train trestle that's now a walking bridge at the intersection of Diamond Lake and Stevens. She had 6 prior convictions. We arrested her, and she'll likely get her 7th based off of that. So I don't have a count on how many people we have cited for prohibited camping, but there are numerous people that have multiple convictions that do go to jail every time we catch them violating it.
Wow. Thank you.
Yep.
Next question, syringe issues. Why not promote a needle exchange? It makes a difference.
As far as the Roseburg Police Department promoting a needle exchange,
I'm not sure. And what do you think about that?
I can't speak for the
I
department,
see.
but I will say that needles are the biggest hazard to myself, the work crew, and any other person within public property, any property for that
So
matter.
that would be a city policy?
Yes.
I
Not
see.
not a police department.
I see. So we'd have to address that to the city.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next. Let me see if I can read this. When will the city and the county incorporate or a primary research project to ask the homeless what they want? Should we ask the homeless what they want?
So One of the biggest issues with homelessness that I didn't touch on is drug use. I would estimate about 90% of our homeless are drug users. A lot of them want to get clean. They don't have the resources to do it. A lot of them, when they decide to get clean, they tell me that, they communicate with me, and they say that I've got an appointment in 2 weeks or 3 weeks with an in-treatment facility to get clean, because that's what they want. But unfortunately, usually by the time 3 weeks rolls around, they've changed their mind. And so I think the biggest thing that they want is to be contributing members of this society, but until they get clean and sober, it's not really possible for a lot of them.
Okay, let's move on here. Whoops, I'm losing it. Okay.
Robin?
Yes.
This question has to be walked up to you because
Okay.
it's from Holy Bremen.
Here.
She says, what I have discovered is everyone who addresses homelessness, quotes, like to talk, but will never pull the trigger on a solution. If I could ask any question, it would be if there actually was a solution, but there were some in opposition, would they be willing to move with a solution despite a minority of people who are loud in opposition, or are they waiting for there to be in agreement across the board by the entire community? Thank you.
I'm not sure if Officer Chavez can answer that. It sounds like a city council question.
And up to the individuals as well.
Right. So, good question and in depth. I wish we had an answer to that.
Well, the second question on that card, which is the only one I really needed answered, which is why are you enforcing removal in the middle of those hours that you say are off limits?
Why are we enforcing removal?
During the middle of the night.
We are not, unless they're committing a crime, or if they have multiple convictions and they're in an area where they're not allowed to be. If someone is following the time, place, and manner, we have nothing to cite them for. We wouldn't remove them.
I have some different information that you have done that in the middle.
So we only have access to the work crew during the nighttime, or during the daytime hours, pardon me. So we don't have access to the work crew during the nighttime
Maybe
hours.
that happened in the past, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like it happens regularly.
No,
In the
definitely
middle
not.
of the night, they have rules, and you've got the paper that.
That's why I asked why they get broken by this gentleman.
And so typically, we only have 3 officers during the nighttime hours anyway, so we don't have staffing to pack up someone's tent.
Specifically of you, your name was.
I don't work during the nighttime hours. I only work during day shift, and I have for 4 years.
Well, there's a lot of misinformation going around, I think, as well. So beware. Now, here's the next question.
Yeah.
Why don't we, as a community, provide a garbage service?
We do.
I mean, to the homeless?
Yes. We actually just recently, within the last 6 months, we were putting, so in the Umpqua Greenway area, they had 2, I think they're 4-yard dumpsters, little green ones, excuse me, out there for the homeless that are in that area to put their trash in. And there's more out there than what they could fit in those trash bins. So we actually brought a large 20-yard dumpster out there that they put their trash in. Well, some of them do. Obviously, all of them don't. But so we do. I don't know what they mean exactly by a trash service, but I mean that's as close as we can get to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking they mean for the homeless
Yeah.
folks.
So there is actually a 20-yard dumpster that gets dumped every week. That's out in that main area.
Awesome.
Yes. It's right in the middle of the park.
Cool. Okay, next question. Do you offer or share information about social services to help people find pathways out of homelessness?
Yes, I'm a huge advocate for the Navigation Center, the Gary Leaf Navigation Center, for the Mission for men, for the Samaritan Inn for women. I constantly am encouraging these people, and for years, some of the same people, every time I see them, I ask them, have you got on the list at the Navigation Center yet? And some of these people thank me afterwards that it took them years to do it, but they say they finally did it and they've got housing. And so there's a few success stories out there, but not as many as I would like to see. And unfortunately, the Navigation Center only has so many beds and so much space. We're really limited. Our community is too big for what the Navigation Center can handle.
Thank you. Okay, what percent of things stored get retrieved by the camper? Can you say that?
I'm going to say 20 to 30%. So 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 people will actually come in and retrieve their safekeeping property from the Roseburg Police Department that we store for them. And oftentimes they're new tents, new tarps, sleeping bags, nice clothes, tools, lots of tools we throw away that they do not pick up. It's things of value. Sometimes you can tell they may even be like sentimental things like photo albums and things, and they end up in the landfill, unfortunately. There's no penalty to
Yeah.
pick their property up. There's no payment that they need to pay. They just have to come down and pick up their stuff. That's it.
Well, they probably don't have a means to pick it up, is what I fear.
So sometimes the quantity of property that what we get from one camp is literally truckloads of safekeeping property. And so,
Wow.
yeah, sometimes we'll tell them, like, you need to bring multiple trucks to the police department to pick your stuff up. And sometimes they do. They'll arrange for trucks to come to the police department to pick their property up.
Good. Okay, next. You stated that highly visible camps are often the first to be dealt with. What difference does visibility make?
We base it off the complaints. So the more visible a camp is, the more complaints we typically get on that particular camp.
Very good. You mentioned that someone had been cited 7 times. What are the consequences for them?
Convicted 7 times. So they may have more citations than that. So when someone violates the time, place, and manner and they have more than 2 convictions, we can arrest them. How long they're held in jail is up to the courts and the jail, but the maximum they can be held is 7 days. How do they pay? Pay like
Yeah, the question is, how can these homeless people pay for their citations?
the fines associated with
Yeah,
it?
right.
I don't know. I don't get any part of the fines or the monetary issue. We have no knowledge of that as the police department. That's between the courts and the individuals, but it's a great question. I just don't have the answer for it. It is an unclassified misdemeanor.
Okay. After someone is released from jail, do they just go back to being homeless? Is that your experience?
Typically, yes. Yeah, I mean, there are, like I said, there's a few success stories out there where they have either used the resources that are there, which we really push, or maybe they found an alternate route, friend, family member that they finally hooked up with and was able to help them out. But there's a few of them out there, and then often when these people do get housing, they come back to visit and hang out with the community that they know of homeless people, which is probably not the best choice for a lot of them because it's a lot of drug use and bad habits that sometimes go on within that community. But sometimes they just can't get away from what they consider their family.
Thank you. Our ordinances change. Is there a change or addition you would like to see affected or put into place?
So, me personally, yes. I can't speak for the city, but we're limited by a lot of the laws that are in place that we have to follow, such as holding property for 30 days after we've given them a minimum of 72 hours to remove their property from an area that we posted with a campsite notice, an unlawful campsite notice. Ideally, it would be nice if we were able to show up and say, hey, you've had 6 days, 5 days, 4 days to get your stuff out. If we wouldn't have to sort through those items and just say, this is all deemed trash because you left it, you didn't want it, when we could just throw that away. Because again, it's the time we spend in sorting through the property, the hazards that come with it, and then not only sorting through it, then packing it up, labeling it, writing a report for each camp that we take property from, and then taking it back to the police department, storing it, and then when they don't pick it up, taking it to the landfill. So there's all those extra steps that go with just the property portion of it. That would be ideal for me personally, but for the department, I can't speak for.
Yes. Well, thank you, Officer Chavez.
Welcome.
Oh, is there another question? What is it?
You talked about the amount of money that's been spent on positions and on camp cleanup and things like that. It's very expensive.
I'm sure.
Okay. Has the time, place, and manner ordinances changed anything? Where are people supposed to go?
So we encourage them to use those resources such as the mission, the women's shelter, and the navigation center. Most of these people, they've never gone to those places or got their name put on the list.
Thank you.
Right, and so, you know, you're homeless,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're arrested or cited for being homeless, but and your things are picked up, and you don't have the means to transport them anywhere. Doesn't it just seem like there's a never-ending solution? It's a lot of money spent and.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that question.
Our goal is, again, to I don't want to say force them because that's not the right word, encourage them to use those resources to finally take that step. And sometimes it may take arresting them multiple times. I don't know. Each person is different. You'd have to ask that person why they haven't used those resources that are there. But that's our goal, is for at least to get put on the list at the navigation center or go to the mission. And a lot of them will just flat out tell me, I don't want to go there. I don't want to use those resources.
Excuse me. I know, we need to ask one question and let others, because we have limited time. So I have another question here. Do you have citizen volunteers to help with the work crew? If so, how many volunteers show up to clean up every month?
We currently do not have any citizen volunteers, and we learned that it's a liability issue because of all the needle exposure that we deal with, that we can't use currently volunteers.
So who do you use?
We use a Douglas County work crew. It's not an inmate work crew, but community service hours. So someone that maybe got a DUI or committed a theft or something, where, or parole probation violation, where they had to serve so many community service hours. Those are the clients that we get from
Did you ask a question?
Douglas County Public Works.
Aggressive dogs seem to be a problem that I hear close enough and see. So anyway, there's quite a bit. Some of them seem more like weapons and alarm systems. Are you able to deal with that effectively, and how much time does that take?
Great question. Dogs are one of I would say, the second biggest hazard that we face when we go into these camps to post them and deal with them. Dog breeding seems to be a big thing in these parks, and maybe not on purpose they're breeding their dogs, but
Photo of me in the
so
office.
dogs. We seize dogs commonly in these camps. Sometimes people just will leave them tied to a tree. Last week we dealt with one over at the duck pond where someone left his possessions, his camp, and his dog tied to his possessions. He was nowhere in sight. We posted his camp. He moved his property maybe 60 feet from where his camp was and just piled it up with his dog there. I'm assuming, thinking that we wouldn't deal with it if his dog was tied to it. Maybe it was, in his mind, a defense mechanism. So then we have to take the dog. Whenever we seize those dogs, we have to take them to Saving Grace. And then we obviously will still have to deal with the property, sort through it.
Well,
But
that's heavy.
dogs, yes. So we often will use animal control to help us with dogs. One time, I think it was 13 dogs we took from one campsite alone. So we had to call both animal control units with all their cages to take all those dogs, because we're not, as a police department, set up to handle dogs in large volumes like that.
All right, I think we're done with this section, and I thank you, Officer Chavez. We need to move on. We have another Q&A period coming up after Mr. Woodard speaks. So hold on to it. At 7 o'clock or so, we're going to just do Q&A for both the officer and Mr. Woodard. So can you hold on to it? Keep those questions. Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah. Here, I'll take Sherry. Thank you very much. Okay. Elaine, please introduce our next speaker.
Hi, I'd like to introduce Bernie Woodard. He is the operations manager for Elk Island Trading Group and also president of the Alternative Living Solutions. Bernie?
I'm going to sit here with the computer. Thanks.
Thanks for the invitation. It's good to see everybody. Yeah, homeless situation in our town is really bad for all of us. It's not just the people that are homeless out there in the camps. It's for the tax-paying landowners. It's for the business owners. It's just for everybody. It's a bad situation, and the Officer Chavez has done an incredible job in 4 years of chasing down the problems. And I watch him out there. We watch him out there a lot, just trying to make things happen with the tools he has. And he just doesn't have the tools to make things happen that we all want to happen so quickly. and it's all a process. So what we've got is the, can I pull this off of here?
Yes. You get it? Or you can use this one. If you want to use this one.
Okay, that
instead.
works.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so we've got Elk Island Trading Group on several properties in town, mostly along the waterfront. And then Alternative Living Solutions is our nonprofit that manages our camps that we have. And so we have that barrier kind of between the two. This camp here is at the bottom of what we call Daly Hill. A lot of people call it Reservoir Hill. This camp gets cleaned up about once a month. And sometimes it gets cleaned up about a third of the time, and then, or a third of it gets cleaned up and another third. I don't know exactly the amounts. And it's not that that the police officers have that much time to clean this up. We used to have 17 volunteers from our camps that actually helped Officer Chavez clean camps up. Almost all of 2024, our campers were over there all the time from our camps that we have. But it just got too old. It's staggering and it's stagnant. We have people on our city council that can make the choice right away to make different choices for us, for all of us to live a better life, inclusive of the people living in this mud. Is this the kind of picture that we want people in our community, even if they are using drugs? I don't use drugs, never have, but even those people in that situation, is that what we want to be known for as Roseburg, that this kind of thing is going on? And it's not. We have a lot more wonderful things in this community to be known for than our homeless situation. But this homeless camp here, on the back of Waldron's, just so everybody knows, they can go online, not my website, but they can go online on YouTube right now, and they can watch these camps 24/7. You hear the dogs barking all night long. You hear the fighting going on. You hear just screaming and hollering, women screaming for their lives, all that kind of stuff. And you can watch it 24/7 thanks to the people at Waldron's that put cameras on top of their building. A second one might have gone live today so that you can watch these kind of things happen. And the cleanup is not at 8 o'clock. I think what was brought up about in the darkness might have been people that was brought up about Officer Chavez cleaning up. Sometimes they start cleaning up at 7 o'clock, but it's people that's been notified and all that kind of stuff through all of the notices. I mean, our police force is doing a tremendous job, and I'm not ever going to say that they're not. They're just incredible. But
Bernie, we have till 7 o'clock, and then the clock's up there.
okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, 20 minutes. That's a lot more than 6 or 3 or 2. Okay, let's start here. First off, the owner of that hill behind here is named Linda Daly. Linda Daly, 77 years old. She was cited because some of these campers came up and started camping on her property. But she told me yesterday to reach out and say hi to you guys because she now lives in Portland, and she was a member of in the 20 or 30 years ago when I told her I would be speaking about this here. So it's directly affecting her. But if we go to the next slide, then here's a more close-up of what goes on in these camps. And you can see stuff staggered all over the place. It's not within a 10-foot by 10-foot area. Most of these people in the Deer Creek Park have multiple tent sites. They don't just have one. And they utilize the rules. And if you look at those, when you watch those videos, or that video, the 20 that's live, you'll see a lot of these people, they go out into the bathroom, they go to the bathroom in the trees, along the railroad tracks, and we're talking both. And we did some E. coli test last year. An E. coli test for Deer Creek Park or Deer Creek was 10 times what the EPA would allow somebody to walk in. That's the kind of thing that we are getting known for in the city of Roseburg, and we need to stop it. Deer Creek Park Deer Creek is the namesake of Roseburg. It was called Deer Creek Settlement in the beginning in the 1830s and 40s until it was changed to Roseburg in the 1850s. But for us to allow our park, both Deer Creek on this side of, this is the main park as I call it, and then on the other side of that creek is what's called the point. And when people are run out, campers are run out in these cleanups, they just go across to the other side of the creek. And so they just go there and they wait their 7 days. If you look at studies of people in the Midwest that want to come to Oregon, they want to come to the waterfront and they want to see beautiful things on the water and the river and they want to fish. Do you think people that want to come here for recreation want to see this? They don't. And so we have to make choices, and we as voters have a right to make those choices. And so here we have all these people that just continue to go back and forth like a tennis ball across Deer Creek Park, or across Deer Creek. Let's go to the next one if you would. So there's two of the almost live feeds of pictures of camps out there that do not get removed at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're scattered all over. In 2010, the city of Roseburg passed what's called, I got kind of an AFib thing going on right now, guys, so I'm sorry. I get excited. In 2010, the city of Roseburg, our city council, passed what was called the Waterfront Master Plan. And that Waterfront Master Plan talked about how beautiful and incredible the waterfront was going to become. So me and my partner Richard, we started picking up properties. We picked up Elk Island, and then we picked up the overflow channel on the other side. We picked up the bridge properties. We picked up several of the properties down Pine Street. And then in 2019, there was Pine Street Waterfront Overlay approved, where it was supposed to be this magnificent waterfront where people could come in there, 3-story buildings, commercial buildings on the first floor, residential on the second and third, or commercial. All of these great things could be happening on our waterfront.
Would you like to sit down?
No, I need to stand. So we put all of our money and time and investment into that. But still, it was way before 4 years, and it was before COVID, that there was a drug problem in Roseburg. There was needles along the paths. There was needles along the bike path, along Pine Street. You know, we just kept praying and hoping that something would change. And then, let's go to the next one. So we have all these properties that we bought to make something happen, to make Roseburg a great, wonderful waterfront and a great Pine Street. So then here again, this is just a few weeks ago, as the Deer Creek Park was just continued to be what it was, or it flips to the other side of the creek. And these 3 tents up here was owned by a couple people that was playing rock music. That's on private property. Me and my camps went up there and we cleaned 18 people out of this lady's house and off this lady's property, Linda Daly. She had been cited by the city for a nuisance for having illegal camping and illegal camps on her property. Every one of these people, as we moved them, they all went right back down to Deer Creek Park. That's where they come from. It's a nuisance the city of Roseburg has created. Let's go to the next one. And yet, other people that are taxpayers, property owners, business owners, we're all paying the price for bad decisions. So in 2022, there was, for about 10 years, I went to city council meetings and I said, hey, if you guys will just vote in that there would be legal camping, where people could have legal camping on their own property, maybe they'll be, if you want to call them anybody bleeding hearts that wants to help people that have a need, maybe they can put a tent up on their own property and kind of bring that person under their wing to help them. For, I think, 8 years, I went to city councils at least one time a year and asked them to do that. In 2022, they passed a law called 2022-21 called the Tent Camping Resolution, where you could have 10 tents. And so that was in early 2022. And me and Richard were like, Richard and I are like, okay, churches are going to jump in here and they're going to do this. Nonprofits are going to jump in. They're always talking about what a problem the homeless people are. they're going to jump in and they're going to do this. They're going to use their own property. They're going to use properties that they rented. They're going to use properties they leased. They're going to use those kind of properties. They're going to use their church properties. That was in early 2022. Then we had city councilors saying, oh, if anybody picks this up, we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure they're a success. Some of them are in here. And even the community development director was the same way. He stood right in front of the city council saying, we're going to work with whoever it is. So after about 8 months, nobody did it. Nobody grabbed it. Nobody said, hey, we're going to help the homeless. We're going to do this or that. And so we went to Washington Bridge, our property, and we said, well, we're having trouble doing anything with our properties anyway. You can't get people to come and stay on them. Nobody wants to visit them. We got all these homeless stuff all over the place. Drugs and alcohol, syringes everywhere. Officer Chavez talked about that. I mean, hundreds and thousands of them in our parks. And now they're buried by excavation equipment, things like that at times. We don't even know what we have in some of those parks. But what we did was we went and we started on our Washington Bridge. We started our first camp. In May of 2023, we went and we applied for 2 tent camping resolutions. So we could have 10 tents on each one. We did Washington Bridge Camp. So by Washington Bridge Camp in September, we started our first 10 people. I think there was an article by a news review saying that we started it and it was unorthodox, but it was starting. It was doing something to make something happen because nobody else, it seemed like, was doing it. So then we went to the next slide, is our Pine Street. When that was a success and we had 10 to 20 people in our Washington Bridge camp, and again, these are high barrier, they're no drugs and alcohol is what our camps are. We're asking people that want to be in our camps to not be on drugs, not do drugs and alcohol. So then we went to our Pine Street camp, and in March of 2024, we started that camp. Next slide. That went okay, and we was keeping it packed. So then we went to Maselli, and we started one down at the Zero Maselli Street, which became our 3rd tent camp that we had. Still, articles were published about us, but no help from the city. Not even a call. Not even a call. The Homeless Commission, we asked to speak. I asked to speak almost every time. They wouldn't even let me speak. City Council, I'd only get the time that they would give me. That's what we're dealing with here. So as we had our 3 tent camps, which by the way have had 13,000 day nights. 13,000 day nights of people staying in our camps. They're according to the tent camp resolution, they have to have a secured fence around them. As you can see in these plans, we have to go through a whole planning structure. We have to submit all this. The city doesn't have to do this for their places. They have camps. They don't put a tent around them or a fence around them. We have to have porta pots. We have to have garbage disposal. We have to have all those things. The city's not doing that with any of their camps. They let people camp there in Deer Creek Park forever, one side or the other. No bathrooms, go out there in the river, go out there in the creek, all that. But we followed the rules, and we're still following the rules. And we're still going to follow the rules. And so we applied, we was told, because other people around the state heard what we were doing, Grants Pass has a problem too, as everybody knows, because they were in the Supreme Court. So I was contacted by people in the Grants Pass saying, we need a Bernie in Grants Pass. Crazy, it's supposed to be our camp names and camp numbers, but it's just become a Bernie thing. And so I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at this. And so I go down there and I take a look, and it's like, wow, this is pretty tough. Grants Pass has been in the Supreme Court. Grants Pass is still in court. Grants Pass has a judgment against them, all these kind of things. But we looked at it all and said, hey, we can do this. This RFP, the request for proposals that they put out to all people, it wasn't sole sourced behind the scenes to somebody, but it was out in the public where everybody could see what was being said and what was being applied for. We looked and we said, we can do this. You have to have 150 beds. It has to be low barrier where they can actually be inebriated or on drugs when they get there, but they can't be causing problems. These kind of things. So we applied for that. We didn't score first to begin with. A local person scored first, but they couldn't get a property. We got a property, and we got it from Bimart. We got it next to a wraparound services called Mint that we created as our partner. So what we did was we made sure the RFP proposal met every specific thing that they wanted in that request for proposal, and we met everything that the court in Josephine County requested of them and required of them. They needed 150 beds, they needed low barrier, and they needed the bathrooms, and they needed it to be a secured spot that was 24/7 security. So we filed, we got that grant, and we were applied. We have our third Connex container now being delivered this next couple of days. And we've been working on site engineering and site architectural drawings and all those kind of things with firms that's in Eugene. But we've done all the things.
We got 5 minutes.
Okay, so we've jumped through those hoops to get to there. But go to the next slide.
Okay.
So that was what was accepted by the city of Grants Pass to make happen. What we're doing is we're using Connex buildings that's 40 feet long, changing them into 4 units in a Connex building, according to a new transitional code that the city of Grants Pass approved for us. And we can get 2 beds in each one of those, 2 sleeping beds in that. This meets, our project there meets what's called House Bill 3115, which you'll hear everybody say we cannot fix the homeless problem because of House Bill 3115. That's bullshit. And sorry about that, but it is. It's something that everybody wants to say that does not want to do anything. They don't want to make a choice. But 3115 requires people to have a place to be able to sleep. And so the court down there determined that, okay, we've got 600 homeless people in Grants Pass. We need to accommodate, let's go to the next one. We need to accommodate 25% of that. So I created a funnel system, total population Grants Pass, 39,000, almost 40,000. There's 600 homeless people, and then they required 25% beds for those 600 homeless people, which needed 150 beds, and that's the formula that needs to be taken care of and taken into account by every city in the state of Oregon to comply with House Bill 3115, and it can be done. So then, in the assessment plan, we have to have an assessment plan. There's 5 different grades of people that are out there in these camps. One is people that need a bus ticket home, and I know that's a joke, but that's true. A lot of men have left a lot of women, and vice versa in these camps or in these places. So some people just need a bus ticket home. They need reuniting with their family. Others need a place to stay for a few months just to be able to get enough money to pay for an apartment or a house. Okay, so we have a second group of people that just need a place to stay. They can stay up to 6 months in this facility. Then we have the disabled people that just can't get around, and you see wheelchairs in the mud here in Roseburg sometimes. We need to be able to get those disabled people. That was another requirement of the court, was we had to have a certain amount of ADA units. So we got the disabled units taken care of. Then there's the substance abuse. Again, 90%, I think Officer Chavez said, and that's probably true, there's a lot. And there's a lot more in Deer Creek Park because they have access there to the methadone clinic right up the street. Then the mental health, okay? So there's just, that needs to be dealt with. And it has to be dealt with. But we have wraparound services called MINT that's working on taking care of those with the people that know how to do that. And let's go to the next. So what we proposed to Roseburg for over 2 years now, before we proposed it to Grants Pass, if you see Roseburg, 24,000 people, 350 to 450 homeless. If you take that same 25%, you know, we're looking at a 100-bed facility. We create a 100-bed facility, sleeping facility, not apartments, not a housing apartment, giving them an apartment, a house or whatever, but if we just create beds for 25% of those numbers, we have a court adjudication in Josephine County that would allow us to be able to say we meet House Bill 3115. So then we could have our 100-bed facility that we propose is 1159 Southeast Flint. Once we got that proposed, our camps at Pine and our camps at the bridge would probably be closed and everybody would move into that bigger camp. Again, all of the city parks could be clean, not people camping in them, because House Bill 3115 is accepted, or we're compliant with House Bill 3115. Let's go to the next one.
That's it.
So we're out of time. Okay, so there was a map of the 11:59. It shows enough places for 300 people to be in the camp along right there. Over 300 people can be in this camp down by the railroad, across from the navigation center. It's not a property that anybody wants, but we propose this to the city for 2 years now, and it's always something they want to stop, and we need to stop them from stopping us. And that's what voters have to do. I can't do it. I've done the best that we can, and we need your help to make a difference.
Thank you very much, Bernie. I appreciate you. And I'm going to close this. Well, I guess I got to turn it off. Anyway, okay. So we're going to do Q&A now again. And so have you gotten a card you want to write your question on? If not, you can come to the mic. If you want to ask a question, 2 ways. Either write it on a 3x5 card. Is someone passing those out? Yeah, will you come up to a mic? Well, here, I can bring this a ways, I think. Here, no, just a moment, please, sir. Sir.
Bernie, I'm just wondering what it would cost to do the camp you're proposing. I mean, is it possible?
Grants Pass awarded us $1,179,000 to build the facility down there. We're going to be a little over that, but we found private funding to take care of that because people want their properties back. Grants Pass is a beautiful city. Roseburg is a beautiful city. Beautiful waterfront. Roseburg is a beautiful waterfront. We need to get this happening. But yeah, $1,179,000 is what we're on in construction. We'll be on a construction cost. It's not even going to be as much because we're going to start in a different way. Down there, we had to start with the court order. Here, we'll start by just creating low barrier. We can move the camp in 1 week.
Lupe, you want to ask a question? Would you pass this mic to her, please? Thank you.
Thank you. My question is that some of these sites seem to be pretty low, like below flood zone. So my question to you is, are any of these home sites below the flood zone so they would be impacted as the weather changed?
Yeah, neither of the long-term Grants Pass one is not flood zone, and neither is the one down by Missouri Park, the long-term one. We do have one that we've constantly, if you guys follow my Facebook page, you see us, if water starts coming up, we have to start moving the camp up and moving people to other camps, the Washington Bridge one. We wish we didn't have to use that, but those are the properties we have that meet the requirements of the Tent Camping Resolution 2022-21. And so we're able to put that camp there. Pine Street Camp is in the floodplain, but it's not really a problem with water. And then the Missouri Park one is not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Pass that forward. Great. Someone else? Who else would like to ask a question? Oh, good. Alice. Here.
I would like to know, in Grants Pass facility, do they have a time limit they can stay there?
Yeah, 6 months is our camp, or our shelter. It's not even a camp. It has beds, and that's an important element. There's beds here for people to stay safely with a place to store their stuff underneath of each bed. We haven't built all of them. We haven't built them yet. We've got 3, but yes, they can stay 6 months, and now we're working on the secondary housing that would be 6 months to 2 years.
All right. Any questions for Officer Chavez? Yes. Would you come to a mic, please? Great, you can stand right here. Thank you.
Hi, Officer Chavez. I had a question earlier about, you mentioned that there's a lot of brand new tents and sleeping bags and everything that you pick up. Mm-hmm. And is there a chance of redistribution of those to people that are in the legal camp zones? Because it seems like a big, constant waste that you have to deal with as a department. And I'm sure it relates to needles and stuff, but if there's ways to get around that with all the volunteers that you have and people on parole, like that kind of stuff,
Great question, and that's a common question we get. What do we do with the new stuff? It does get thrown away, but as far as I understand, it's actually state law dictates that that stuff has to end up in the landfill and doesn't get sold or auctioned off or repurposed. Not a decision that the Roseburg Police Department makes, but unfortunately, those are the laws that we have to follow. But great question, because that is a common one, and it's frustrating to know that sometimes nice stuff does end up in the landfill. It's not where it belongs.
Yeah. So a lot of agencies donate a lot of stuff to the homeless people, and I was just wondering if there's a way to, or maybe this is already being done, to communicate, like, please don't give these certain items to homeless people, like the shovels that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another great question. So there is no place for shovels in our parks. So that would be a good thing. Don't give away tools. But as far as things that you should not give them, one of the single most common thing that we throw away is clothing. So, for example, yesterday we disposed of 3 20-yard dumpsters worth of stuff in one day. A large percentage of that was clothing. And I'm not saying don't give these people clothing. I don't want you to think that that's what I'm saying, but I'm just saying the most common thing that we unfortunately throw away is clothing. The second is pallets. So one of the biggest thing that we deal with in these camps is pallets. They want to get their tents out of the mud. So a lot of the businesses, they leave pallets outside of their businesses, hoping that people will take them, maybe to use them at their farms to put hay on or something. But a lot of them hundreds of them end up down in our parks where they have no place being. So there's a lot of stuff that comes from commercial businesses that's taken and then drugged down into our park system. But as far as things that nonprofits or other people are giving away, another thing we throw away a lot of, unbelievably, is food. So things like rice, beans, often we find them torn open because they don't have good ways to prepare these things. And so think about the food that you are giving to them, if you are giving food, things that are easy to prepare, because like I say, they'll just leave those things behind and the bags get torn. They get moisture in them, so we throw a lot of things like that away.
Thank you. Yes, Betsy, do you want to come forward to a mic, please?
Can't I speak loudly enough?
No, thank you.
So, I have a question. Wouldn't it be cheaper and better
Please come to the
to
mic.
have designated places for people to be? Wouldn't that be the solution, is where people can be, all 300 of them?
So I don't deal with the numbers, so I couldn't answer that question for you accurately. That would be a question for maybe a city councilor or upper management. I'm just boots on the ground. So
Yeah, but if you did not have to do this, then the problem would be solved. The yards and yards of debris would not be thrown away.
That would be an accurate statement. If I'm not doing this, then we wouldn't be throwing stuff away, yeah.
There's one question over there too, but, well, we've heard of a possible solution from Mr. Woodard, so my question is, what is the barrier to that, or what is the next step if people did want to go ahead and create a space that would house 100 people?
Convincing the people to go there would be the next step. You can build it, and hopefully if you build it, they will come. But there's a lot of people, like I said earlier, that I've asked, why are they not using the resources that are there? And they said because they don't want to. They want to keep the lifestyle that they have of drug use, knowing that most places aren't going to allow or tolerate that if they do go there. So I believe that's the biggest hurdle is that.
Sure. Mr. Woodard would like to respond to that as well.
Yeah, one of the things we did with Grants Pass is we had the chief of police agree that they would enforce the law. Because whether you want people in the parks cited and arrested or not, until that gets done, there has to be two things. One, they have to have a place to go to that's safe for them, that they can be at. But then also our parks need to be cleared out and our commercial areas need to be cleared out. We have to have both. And so we have to get to that larger place that everybody can go to and be safe.
Thank you. Okay, I have a question right here that someone wrote down. I know you require people who stay at your camps work for you. Do you pay them? If they can't work, what happens?
If they can't, okay, there's questions in there, a lot of them. We have a nonprofit called Alternative Living Solutions that we created before 1 month after we opened our first camp, where we could actually have people volunteer for us. They volunteer to work around the camps. They volunteer to work on the city cleanup crews that we've done for years, probably more hours maybe than any other one company or one group that put people out there to help clean. And so, no, they don't get paid. They trade off time where they volunteer for volunteer for our alternative living solutions. Our alternative living solutions is the management company for Elk Island Trading Group that owns the property. There's nothing wrong with it. There's been a lot of misinformation out there by people that have been taken out of the camps because of drug and alcohol use or violence against women and things like that, because those things go on and we remove them from our camps. And so there's a lot of misinformation. They've started with people that want us to fail to try to create issues for us.
Thank you. Another question, sir?
I think it's obvious that this takes a lot of money to get this done, and I know you said you had private investors, but I would think that just maintenance. How is all of this funded? Because this got to cost a lot of money to do this.
Well, our camps to begin with have been funded by me and my partner Richard by using our properties. Nobody would come up and help. We've had some people that come up and donated money, and to help pay for porta pots and things like that. But the properties have been our own. The taxes get paid our own. We've had to go out for 3 years now. We've almost had these tent camps going. We've had to go out and get more loans on our properties just to be able to keep them going, because we haven't had the people come in that wanted to help. In Grants Pass, it's a whole different thing, because everybody's seeing the opportunity now that they can get rid of these camps out of their parks, which they already have. And there's not one camp that goes up in their parks, and they're getting ready to get rid of them out of the commercial areas. And that stays solid as long as we open down there by June 1st. And then they've met court orders and all that. And so there are other private, at least Mint has other churches and things like that coming in to help. But up here in Roseburg, our tent camps are paid for by us, me and Richard, and then the volunteer service of the people that stay there. They're actually paying for their own place to be by helping work and do things around the area and help clean things and help clean the parks. They're paying their own way forward. And these are, again, a kind of a higher barrier because they don't use drugs and alcohol, but they help us pay the way forward. We're not paying a big crew to come in and clean stuff or do things.
Thank you, Bernie. Someone else, won't you come up here, please? That would be. Oh, I'm sorry. You'll be next. No, come on ahead. No. Oh, okay. Sure.
My question piggybacks on yours, and it's for Bernie. There must be a lot of funding sources out there, foundations, grants, opportunities, state, federal monies. What research have you done on other funding from governmental entities and or nonprofit foundations?
And that's a really good question again, because it's not just building it and they will come. It's operating it and keep them there. Our goal is to create nice places, places people want to be at. And on the funding thing is like, I didn't realize the nonprofit, we've got people now that are looking for grant applications and helping us get through the grant application process. Before these last 2 or 3 years, and some of you in this audience know me, I've been just busy trying to survive and make the thing work. I haven't had time to do the research. I've just been trying to keep a place for people to be able to stay that's safe. But now that we've gotten this Grants Pass deal, and maybe we eventually get a Roseburg one, maybe they need to wait and see what happens in Grants Pass. But there is operational funding out there. And if anybody in here is a grant writer and knows how to do it and wants to help, please.
Right on. Someone else.
Good evening. I am one of these people that live out on the streets at the moment due to the past and problems of transport. Anyway, that's another story. My question is, and like you, I get a little place, so bear with me. Has the city even started a? Has the city even started a homeless council committee yet? Because last time at my first city hall I went to, there's still 3 seats need to be filled before I guess they can even start or think about doing anything. I'm from Portland. Something jumped me to this town. I don't know it, a couple times. But I've seen a lot of different ways to deal with the homeless situations, and none of them are going to be ever perfect or ever be the right way to do it. You know, maybe, you know what I mean? There's going to be flaws in whatever we try to do. There's going to be something that's going to pop up, is what I'm saying. But there is different ways to do it. I want to know what's the qualification. I got a GED from Blue Ridge College. What do I got to do to help get on council?
Is that a question to me or Officer
That's a question
Chavez?
for everybody.
As far as I understand, the city council is working on, sir, the city council is working on getting the Homes Commission back and going again and adding more people to it that can properly respond. And the other thing as I've watched the city council meetings, they're going to make sure that they're open once a month so that you and others can come in and actually speak. That's what I've observed from the city council working towards solution on that part. I do believe the homeless commission was, starting it with all nonprofits that actually make money off of homeless was a bad thing to do. It should have been other people involved. Betsy should have been on there, and other Max Stafford should have been on there. People that are involved with homeless people should have been on that commission, and we probably wouldn't have gone through the money we've gone through now and leaving 300 people out in those parks.
Thank you. Question? Would you come to a mic, or can I bring it to you? Thank you.
I was just wondering from both of you, what can the citizens of Roseburg do to support that plan on Flint Street, or what can we do to help support the police department? We all know it's a problem, but what actions can we take to help?
All right. I think keep your eyes open and say, hey, we've heard this tonight on February 12th at the League of Women's Voters meeting that this could be done. Don't sweep it under the rug, and we want to see something happen, whether it's our company doing it or somebody else. We think this should happen, and that's what you can do to help us. Don't let them say, oh, you got to do this and that whenever they let that go on in Deer Creek Park with the things that are going on, and they make us follow the rule of every law that they make. So make them accountable, ask questions.
So what you can do to help as community members, number one is vote. Pay attention to these measures that are coming up and read and understand them and understand how they're going to affect homelessness in our community. I think that's one of the biggest things that everyone can do as a community member because we're all affected by it. Businesses, a lot of them in town, unfortunately, fall victim to crimes like criminal mischief, theft. And a lot of that the community doesn't know about, that unfortunately a lot of that is some of the homeless that cause those issues. But voting is really the biggest thing that community members can do, and be vigilant, kind of like what Bernie said. And when you see a crime happening, call it in. Because again, unfortunately, a lot of these crimes, as our homeless community numbers go up, it seems like some of the crimes that are associated with them go up as well. So again, there may be some new legislation coming up where our hands are kind of tied in our procedures and policies. So pay attention to those, because there may be some stuff coming up soon where you have a voice and you can vote to help change some of the things that are limiting us and what we can do.
Just clarify, is that in the city or at the state you're talking about?
State level.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, yes.
So my question's for Bernie, just to try to understand this better. So obviously, Ashland had a court order. The government, the city or the county had proper motivation to take care of this because they needed to, they had to. So I'm guessing the federal and state funding was taken on, like the grant writing and everything that you're saying that you need help on, was taken on by government employees in that situation? What, like, how did that? Because you're saying that you basically, you've been hitting your own nonprofit in your own pocket for the initial setup and for the ongoing management costs at this point in time. But was there assistance from Ashland in terms of, like, they were like, we secured this amount of federal and state funding through grant money, and then we got to figure out private to cover the rest? Like, what did that look like?
Okay, thanks. It's Grants Pass, not Ashland.
Grants Pass.
And
sorry.
yeah, there
My
was court
apologies.
orders because several reasons, but one was the Disabilities Act. People with wheelchairs were getting stuck in mud like we see here in Roseburg, and somebody just took them to court. That's all it's going to take here in Roseburg, the same thing, and it's just waiting to happen for that kind of thing to go on. It just takes a couple people wanting to do it. But the money from Grants Pass came from what's called the opioid settlement that almost, I think it's 28 billion or so many, that number's wrong, so don't use that. It's so many $1 billion that the opioid manufacturers have to give to cities, and our city has one of those too. It's like in there in the paperwork they have on their accounting, and so it can be used. And that's what Grants Pass did. They used $500,000 that was towards the opioid settlement, I think, and then they added some matching funds to make sure that Grants Pass could make this happen. Hopefully I got everything you had in that question. Thanks.
Great. Okay, will you come forward, please? Let me come this way. I bring this to you, but you're already almost here. Thanks, Betsy.
So, Bernie, the elephant in the room is the fact that you actually do have people work for your private LLC. And there are actually, I'm with Housing First Umpqua, and housing is the solution to homelessness, not badly managing it. But we actually are looking for people who have been in your camps to help them file complaints so the courts get to decide. Wait a second, and I want people to
I'm just wondering how many questions you get.
Well, actually, I'm going to take some space that was told I could take by Robin in a message that she kind of backed out on. So Housing First Umpqua is actually part of a group that is starting a People's Homeless Commission to run parallel because we don't like the way the city has done anything. We also have a petition to ask for the city to account for all the money they've spent on this enforcement. So the petitions are both over there. You can sign up to be part of the People's Homeless Commission. And frankly, we are going to fund a lawyer to address the exploitation of the people as well as what the Grants Pass case for the city. We are poised to do that right now. The problem is homeless people are so disenfranchised. I organized homeless people in the 80s, and crackheads were less disenfranchised.
Thank you, Betsy. We appreciate your input. Yes, would you come forward? I should bring you the... Yeah, sure.
Because I will.
Yeah, right on. Go ahead.
How much can I respond? How much can I respond to?
Well,
Betsy's with Housing First. She slandered me here, so let's go the same thing. She's been doing it for 15 years or so. Never housed one person. We've got over 13,000 nights of people staying in our camps for safety, and we plan on making it even better. And some of the accusations she makes way off the charts, maybe criminal, but we're trying to do everything we can do right to make things change. And I believe that Betsy probably would be a good candidate for the Homeless Commission because she has been doing it so long. But again, she's really done nothing, and it's maybe not her fault she can't get the funding. And so she's trying to utilize every opportunity that we have on a Facebook post or here with you all to get answers to be able to badmouth us.
okay. We are, hold it. We're not going to make accusations here. We're here for information and to exchange information. Sherry, do you want to come forward? What happened? Somebody fell off a chair? Oh dear, they do roll weird. That's not Lori. Oh my gosh. dear, bless her heart. Sherry, you want to come around? Okay, she'll be next.
I'm hearing all these great things that you both do, but it seems like it's not solving the homelessness problem. And I realize that's a multifaceted problem. I mean, there's different reasons for why people are homeless. But I feel like if we can identify all of those reasons and set up nonprofits or whatever, government-funded clinics, that we help these people transition from homelessness. Otherwise, this is going to continue over and over again, and we are getting nowhere. What are we doing? I know you mentioned the different places that homeless people can go for the night, but what are we doing beyond that?
So I kind of touched on this earlier. I believe that treatment facilities and beds, because we are so outnumbered in our community, and I think every community for that matter, these people that unfortunately they are addicts, they can't get the help that they want when they want it. And I think that is the first step. So voting or whatever you can do to get these facilities more beds and get them in more communities would be a huge step towards getting out of this cycle that we're in. Like I said, not all of them are drug users, but a lot, unfortunately, a lot of them are. And like I said, they do want help. It's just not there for them. And I often talk to these people, and sometimes they tell me their stories, and sometimes they don't. But for the most part, when they do, it's drugs are the root cause for the issues that they're having being homeless.
And I agree, it's about beds, and that's why I say it's not about housing first, and it's not about what we're doing right now. It's about beds, and that's why we've designed a plan that can get people a safe bed in a place out of the rain, and that's where we got to go, whether it's us or somebody else doing it. That we've got to look at beds and creating those beds for people to go to that's safe for them. And then I think, you know, we still got to stay on the enforcement part of it. I mean, and that's what Josh's job is, and it's just one tough job for him and for the enforcement to do this.
Thank you. Anyone else? We've got time for just a couple more. No, there's a lady here. Oh, no, come. I've ignored you too long. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I live in one of Bernie's homeless camps, and I've noticed when I walk around town a lot of people put things for free on the sidewalk. You'd be surprised how many people use their wagons to haul that crap all over town. And that's part of the reason a lot of stuff is going to the dump. People don't want to take their stuff to the dump. They don't want to pay for it. They just put free on it and leave it on the sidewalk. And that's not helping our landfill any. But, you know, a lot of these people are finding stuff on the sidewalks that they're taking to the park that the city's having to pay to get rid of. And there should be a law against that, too.
Thank you very much. Good. Max, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to... I think, sorry, I'd like to just point out an observation I've been making since I've been starting to pay attention to this a little more over the last year. One of the issues that, I mean, is kind of in a form of a question, I guess, why haven't we gone beyond this concept of drugs being a cause? Because I think it's, drugs are actually often more of a, one of the symptoms of the issue. And it's looked at as a cause because it kind of reinforces the downward spiral people go into. But I think the way we frame this discussion about the people who want to live, or the people who don't want to follow the rules or whatever, this kind of concept and what I've seen, I don't know, Bernie has said, like, don't give people camps or tents or whatever because, you know, you're seeing this cycle. But I think we just need to look at how complicit this has been as far as like doing, like sweeping people's camps and continuing this. You know, from what I've heard, it's very different from what, you know, you guys, obviously you're not going to like slander yourselves, but the way, what I've heard from people that deal with these sweeps over and over, it's not like you're in, you know, being friendly, and it's extremely abusive, and this kind of concept that the, you know, aside, I wanted to just say, aside from like accusations and heavy feelings about this stuff, it's important to look at it in this objective way. It's like looking at the actual situations people are in, not just assuming that, oh, you know, it's somehow good to, you know, take the people that are willing to be exploit, you know, to work for 3 hours a day or whatever in exchange, and then like throw the rest of the other people into this group of, oh, those people don't want to follow the rules.
Do you have a question?
My question would be, sorry, let me look at my notes here. Basically, you know,
Question, please.
the question is, what is the city getting out of this? And obviously, they've continued this for it's a choice. It's not like, oops, we're trying to fix it now. You know, what I'm saying is, why has the city chosen to simply sensationalize people's problems, and really the needle, and like the way that you guys like describe the issue is extremely problematic, and it reinforces a lot of this public perception that is wrong. And that is a lot of the problem that we're seeing is because the people don't want a homeless camp, right? Because the concept is that, oh, it's these bad people. So why? My question is simply, why do you what benefit is it to you to continue to criminalize people for their poverty and their homelessness?
Thank you.
So if you're asking why do we clean like we do, is that no?
He wants to. He's asking about criminalization.
Criminalization of camping?
Why do you criminalize
homelessness
and drug addiction?
So it is the laws that we're enforcing. We as a police department don't create the laws that are set forth by the voters. We enforce them.
I'm asking why do you keep sweeping people when you can't put them in jail? You displace them further while slandering them constantly. At every single meeting, when you're talking about the homeless, it always comes back to, oh, but what about the people that don't want to follow the rules?
Okay, Max. Thank you. I think you made your point. You want to speak to this too?
Yeah, there's three elements of this whole thing, you guys, and it's not just the people that's doing drugs illegally in the camps. There's people doing drugs illegally in the camps. There's people that are out there because they have to be, because they can't have any place else to go because of affording a house. And then there's also taxpayers, and there's real estate, and there's owners of properties that's next to these camps, and there's businesses next to these camps. All of those people have to be taken into consideration, not just one. And Officer Chavez and the City of Roseburg Police Department, they follow the rules and make sure those, as many people as they can that violate the laws are taken care of according to what the laws are. We can't cater to one group of people anymore. We have to cater to all of them.
Right on. Do you want to say anything more, Josh?
Well, you kind of touched on a couple things there. One of them is, why are you doing these sweeps? First of all, we don't call them sweeps. We clean. And if we don't clean, the amount of trash that will pile up in these encampments will be so out of control. For an idea, we took over 75,000 pounds of trash out of that camp in one single day. So that's 13 20-yard dumpsters compacted. So we have to do these, because if we don't, no one else will. And our parks are as too trashy as it is. I mean, we're trying to keep up with the amount of trash that's being brought into them. So if that was kind of one of your questions, that's at least a tidbit of information for you on that.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Come forward. I'll hand you the mic. Great.
Bernie, just a quick question.
in addition to the beds, will there be like an area for cooking or storing things or et cetera? I mean, it's one thing to be able to sleep.
Yes, it's the number one thing is that they can 24/7 show up at the door, at the gate, and they'll be able to get into a place within 1 hour. And then Mint, our wraparound service partner down there, will have 4 hours after that during the day to go in and assess each person to see what they actually need. If they need a bus ticket, we're going to get them that bus ticket out. If they need a place just to stay for 6 months to be able to keep their life together and get to an apartment, that's what they're going to get. If they need drug treatment, if they need it then, we're going to help them. If they want to wait and they say, well, we don't have a place to go, we're going to say, we're going to lock your stuff under your bed, because our beds are going to be elevated for storage and for a refrigerator underneath of it for them to be able to cool their medicines, and they'll be able to store their stuff. And if they want to get help, they can go get help. And we're going to encourage that. And we're going to do that by incentivizing things, not forcing things. But I think I lost maybe part of your question, but then there's going to be food. There's places in the complex that's going to have barbecue grills, and we've already cleared it with the police or the fire marshal down there that we can actually have wood fireplaces. Picnic tables for people to eat on, because I mean, right now people are like eating in the mud. It's not good for anybody what we've got going on, and we just need to take steps towards making it better. And if there's something else that we see we need to do, there's showers. There's going to be showers. There's 6 showers. There's 6 bathrooms. They're all individual stalls where people are not going to be trading off things, but they'll be able to go in and take a shower. Then there'll be laundry facilities for them also. So a lot of stuff's in there, and we're still creating it. We got back our final plans today, and anybody that wants me to share those with them, you'll probably be seeing them on the internet somewhere.
Okay.
What we're doing.
Thank you so much, both of you, Officer Chavez and Bernie. We so appreciate. And I think we learned a bunch. I have to cut this off. We have to be out of here by 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, sir. Those are all good questions, I'm sure, but we need to call it. Look, also, if you're registered to vote, excellent, and if you're not, please do. Here's a little card with a link on where you can go online to register to vote. So be sure, remember to register to vote, or you should check your registration out, make sure you are. So. Yeah, we've got little handouts if you want them. So thank you all for coming. Have a great journey home.